A lot has happened in the last 6 years. The Spanish football team's won 2 European Championships and its first World Cup in that space of time. But that's also how long it's taken BMW to launch and then kill the 1 Series Coupe, replacing it in 2014 with the newly named 2 Series Coupe. We're here to drive the range topper, the Mac Daddy of the 2 Series range, the M235i. You need to keep watching to find out what our initial verdict is on this car, and also why I think it's been styled on a German tennis legend. The 2 Series Coupe shares its bonnet, front wings and doors with the 3-door 1 Series hatchback. But everything else you see here is all new. It's fair to say the 1 Series hatch that this 2 Series is based on isn't the most handsome of cars. And while the 2 Series retains its elongated nose, it's got a more defined athletic body. Think of it as the Steffi Graf of the car world. Inside, you'll struggle to tell it apart from a 1 Series, so let's not focus too much attention here. The boot is bigger than the outgoing 1 Series Coupe and has 30 litres more space than the 1 Series hatch. A narrow door aperture and lower stacking height are the practical shortfalls. Rear headroom is obviously restricted by this plummeting roofline, but legroom matches the 1 Series hatchback thanks to the same wheelbase. But the wheelbase is longer than that of the 1 Series Coupe it replaces, and so is the track between the front and the rear wheels. This should make all the difference when it comes to driving. 3 petrols and 3 diesels will be available midway through the year. The 220D will be the UK bestseller, and for good reason. 60 miles to the gallon claims and relatively low emissions will make it an affordable sports coupe to run. But the M235i, which costs just shy of £9,000 more than the 220D, is the one that will get your heart racing, your blood pumping and your eyes boggling. The M135i is currently my hot hatch of choice. It blends brilliant practicality with absolutely blinding performance. So as you can expect, I've got pretty high expectations for how the 2 Series is going to drive. And it doesn't disappoint. This 322 brake horsepower, 3-litre turbocharged straight 6 petrol engine is nothing short of incredible. Mated to the 8-speed automatic gearbox, it'll hit 62 miles per hour from a standing start in under 5 seconds. That's with the aid of a fairly easy to use launch control system. But it's the mid-range torque that impresses you most. As exhilarating as it is chasing the red line in this car, it's still refined and effortless and easy when you're just pootling along, when you're not mashing your foot into the carpet like a lunatic. My only quibble with the M135 hatch is ride comfort, which is crashy and sometimes unsettling. That, combined with this same engine, be it with slightly less power, makes the M135i feel ragged, but at the same time incredibly alive. The M435i, which is this engine but in the 4 Series Coupe, rides a lot more competently. But that, combined with a chassis that can control the power better, makes it feel more civilised but far less exciting. But the M235i offers the best of both. It still feels sharp and twitchy, but it's also composed when the roads become more ravaged. The level of feedback through the steering is just as impressive too, even with this thick, chunky steering wheel. It's actually quite a feat to be able to make something as detached as electronic power steering feel so linked to the front wheels. It's in Sport and Sport Plus modes when it's most engaging. The steering assistance reduces and the throttle response becomes crisper. I could go on waxing lyrically about how well this thing drives, and I've not even mentioned the glorious soundtrack you get with it as well. It's fair to say I am smitten with the M235i. Okay, it's clear that I am a big fan of how this thing drives. I'd go as far as saying the M235i is the most accomplished sports car I've driven for a long time in this price point. Prices for the 2 Series Coupe start from just over £24,000 for the entry-level 218D. The most expensive is the M235i with the automatic gearbox at just under £36,000, but that's significantly cheaper than one of its closest rivals, the Mercedes-Benz CLA 45 AMG. But I still wouldn't buy an M235i. If it was my money, I'd go for an M135i with 5 doors, which costs around about £2,000 to £2,500 less. It's far more practical as long as you can live with that crashier ride. We'll have to wait to give our conclusive verdict on the 2 Series when we put the 220D through our lab test in April 2014. Click the links to read our first drive report on the 220D and M235i, to see the M135i hatch take on the Mercedes A45 AMG in our hot hatch video, and read our full review of the BMW